Good morning. Today is Tuesday, the 6th day of Tamuz. And today we're finishing chapter 10 in Shaar, Yichud, vEmuna. So we were talking about Hashem is one with his spheres. And God is one with the attributes. Alter Rebbe brought the example of the unity of the sunlight within the sun itself. Just like the sunlight within the sun itself does not have a separate unity, it's one and united with the sun, does not have a separate entity. So too, the attributes of God is one with God himself. And yet, they're called attributes, meaning we have the attributes of kindness, attributes of judgment, and so on and so forth. So that means when we're saying that they have attributes, that means there is a definition of kindness. So what is the definition for? The definition is for us, for the creature, for the created beings. In other words, Hashem conceals himself within these attributes, and for us, it comes and appears as a defined attribute. But within from Hashem's perspective, it's all one with Hashem himself. Kind of, when we're using Hashem's names also to describe Hashem's attributes, the name of Hashem, Kale, is chesed, kindness. So just like if you're saying, when you talk about the name of a person, who are you referring to? Whose name is this? When you're saying the name, it refers to the person himself. It doesn't refer to a part of him. It refers to the very essence of the person. As the story we mentioned about the Rebbe, the Tzemach Tzedek, when he was a little boy, his grandfather, the Alter Rebbe, asked him, where is Zayde? Where is Grandpa? And he pointed on the hand, and he says, that's Grandpa's hand. Pointed at the beard. He said, no, that's Grandpa's beard. Where's Grandpa? And the boy didn't answer. And then he went on to play, and a little while later, the Tzemach Tzedek, the little boy, is called out Grandpa, Zayde. And the Zayde turned around, and the Tzemach Tzedek says, das is Zayde, this is Grandpa. And which means, of course, the name is connected with the very essence, contains within it the very essence of it. But then can you say that the name is the person? Obviously not. It's not the person himself. So when we're talking about Hashem's spheres, Hashem's attributes of kindness, attributes of judgment, it's for us. And just like the name is to relate to others, same thing as Hashem relating to us, is relaying with the different attributes. Sometimes, and some people and some creatures, you have the attribute of kindness that is dominant. And then others, you have the attribute of judgment. But those are only from our perspective, the way we perceive Hashem. Because Hashem this is not something we can understand. That's why the Alter Rebbe said that what Isaiah says, that the spheres are called the secrets of faith, because ultimately you need a faith to believe in what it means, because there is a complete, it has two complete opposite sides in it. On the one hand, we say it's all Hashem is one with it, and the other hand, it's completely nullified within Hashem, doesn't it? Like as if they don't exist. Similar to what we mentioned with a place in the Holy of Holies. You have the Holy Ark that took place and it didn't take place at the same time. The Holy Ark in the Holy of Holies was 2.5 cubits long, 1.5 cubits wide, and it was in a room of the Holy of Holies, which was 20 cubits. So when you measured the whole room, you see 20, but when you measured from each side of the ark, you still saw 10 from each side. So that means the ark took place, because when you measured the ark, it took place. But if you measured the room, it's like as if it didn't take place. Can we understand it? Absolutely not. It is something which is above us. But that's the idea. Hashem, the reason why in the Holy of Holies that happened was as a result of a God being there, the essence of Hashem, in the Holy of Holies. So, and the Rebbe goes on to say that similar thing is also with the spheres, with the attributes of God. And the Rebbe goes on to say that those attributes of God, this is the way Hashem created the world. God created the world with 6 days. Notice I said with 6 days, not within 6 days or in 6 days. It says, Sheishes Yamim Asa Hashem et Hashamayim et Haaretz. 6 days, what does that mean? When we're saying God created the world in 6 days, it's not just that it took the God 6 days to create the world. The 6 days, each day represents a certain attribute, and each day represents a certain creation. So when you have the first day is chesed, kindness. This is why first days the light was created. Light was about spreading. It's about spreading and giving light endlessly. And indeed, the first day, when the light was created, it was an endless light. It was a light without limits. Second day, Hashem brought the gevura, the separation, separated the waters. What does that mean? As we'll soon see. It's not just the physical waters that was separated. It has a spiritual meaning to it. God separated the higher water and the lower water, the spiritual world from the physical world. So we have a whole different understanding of what the 6 days of creation is. And the Nachmanides also says that those 6 days represent the 6 millenniums. You have the first millennium was the chesed, kindness. That's why in this first 1,000 years, we see in Genesis, people lived long, long life. There was kindness for even people that didn't deserve it, because it was ultimate kindness revealed. The second millennium was more gevura, judgment. That is why it caused the flood came in the second millennium, the judgment, the separation. And the third millennium was the Torah was given. The third is the combination of the first and the second, the combination of the upper and the lower. That's why the Torah was given in the third millennium, and so on and so forth. So let's see how the Alter Rebbe says this inside this beautiful lesson of today. Says the Alter Rebbe, Al derech mashal. For example, B'yoyim Rishon Misheishis Semei Bereishis Nigleis Midas HaChesed. On the first day of the 6 days of creation, the attribute of kindness was revealed, which klula mikol midas hakdoshos, that comprised of all God's holy emotive attributes, and with his will and wisdom and understanding and knowledge enclosed in it, that was revealed. What does it mean? So we explained in the past that when we're talking about Hashem's attributes, God's attributes, they're all included from one another. When you have the attribute of kindness, you have in it also included all the other attributes. The judgment, in order to have a balanced world. Because otherwise, if only one level is revealed and it doesn't leave room to other attributes, the world cannot sustain. So yes, in the first day, there was the attribute of kindness that was revealed. That was the dominant attribute, but included in it was all the other attributes. Continues the Alter Rebbe. And with this attribute, the attributes of Chesed, he created light. Through the utterance, let there be light. And when we're saying that the light was created on that first day, this is a kind of light that came from Hashem that was shining from without limits. Which, by the way, it says that this is a light that was later concealed. However, tzaddikim continue to have that light. Tzaddikim, we have this endless light of Hashem. So Hashem hid it for tzaddikim, lost it for the future. But even today, you can see tzaddikim have a deeper revelation and see a deeper reality of God than what ordinary people see. Continues the Alter Rebbe, Shibchinas is pashtus ve'amshochas ha'oyer la'olam milamayla. This is the diffusion of and flow of light into the world from above. And this creation of light is an expression of the attribute of kindness. And this and the light that diffuses from in the world from one end to the other. This is an expression of the attribute of kindness, because Chesed is characterized by diffusion and revelation. That's what Chesed is about. Yet, because the attribute of kindness also includes in the attributes of might, because the attributes of Atzilus are incorporated, they're all incorporate each other. So that's why, says the Alter Rebbe, because it was included the other attributes of Gvura, so that's why the light was not as spiritual and as godly as it came in that world. It was not as spiritual. The Gvura makes it, Gvura means the might, it means the contraction, it means the judgment. I mean, it reduces the light in a way. Therefore, the light was not as spiritual as the actual supernal light. Yes, it was spiritual compared to us, of course, but as compared to the source of it, it was not as spiritual. So what made this light to be not as spiritual? This was the incorporation of the attribute of Gevura with the attribute of Chesed. So this is the restrictive force that Hashem introduced. In addition to that also, once this attribute of Chesed was revealed through Gevura, it brought about that they should be enclosed in this physical world, which has limitations, physical limitations. That continues the Alter Rebbe, v'gam nislabish bo'olam hazeh shu b'bchinas gvul v'tachlis, and it became enclosed in this world, which is finite and limited. And the Alter Rebbe brings from the Talmud, it says, shumay lachtov kufshona me'oretz le'okia me'mizrach le'mayrav. It says the 500 years journey from the earth to heaven and from east to west. So that's what happened day one. So day one again is day one of creation. Day one of creation was the creation that came from the attribute of kindness, and the kindness and flow and the light was introduced to the world. And then what happened the second day, says the Alter Rebbe, v'chein b'yom sheni, nigles midas gvura. Klula mishal midas urtzoinei v'chulu. And they're like, in the like manner. On the second day, there was revealed the attributes of might, attributes of gevura, restriction, which is, and also here, the attributes of might didn't come in its pure form of might and restriction. It was incorporated with the other attributes, which is composed of the other emotive attributes and will and so on, meaning the Chabad, the intellect. It was incorporated in each attribute, incorporates all the emotive attributes and also the intellectual attributes. So what was created on the second day? It says, look what was created. And with the attributes of might, God created the firmament. And this came about through what? It created a firmament through the utterance, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. So what does it mean, divide waters from the waters? This is a clear verse in Genesis, in Bereshis, one of the utterances. So the Alter Rebbe explains, the way it explains in Chassidus, in Kabbalah, that this we're talking about the separation between the spiritual reality and the physical reality, the spiritual waters and the physical waters, the higher waters and the lower waters. This separation of the waters by the firmament is an expression of tzimtzum. It is an expression of contraction, restraint, gevuris, to conceal the upper spiritual waters from the lower waters. Now through this separation from the upper waters and the lower waters became material. It became material through the separation. Because what does the separation cause? It is a reduction, it is a contraction and concealing of the spiritual reality. And that's how this allowed for a physical reality to appear, to emerge. So that's why on the second day of creation, it says, it doesn't say, every day it says kitov, that it was good. Second day of creation does not say kitov, because it was not completed the day. Because there was a separation, but the separation was for a purpose. What was the purpose? For the third day, that it should be reintroduced. But within that attribute itself, within the attributes of Gevura, you have also Chesed incorporated. What is the Chesed incorporated? Where do we see Chesed? Where do we see the kindness? In the separation. It says the Alter Rebbe, Umidas Chesed klula ba ki oilam Chesed ibane. The attributes of kindness is included in this attribute of Gevura, because the world is built with kindness. In other words, what is the world? The world is a separate world. The building is kindness. In order to build, you need to contract. But if you wouldn't contract, there would be no room for a world. It would be only all completely nullified in God's presence, in the presence of the light. So that is why the separation itself and the concealment includes in it kindness. For all this, the division of the waters is in order that the dry land appear and man live upon it to serve God. Thus, this too is ultimately an expression of kindness. V'chein kulam, and so with them all. Each of the other emotive attributes was likewise revealed on each subsequent day in order to bring created beings into existence. And this is, it is this thought that Elijah, Eliyahu, a Navi, expressed in Tikkunim. And he said that the purpose of the emanation of the spheres was to show how the world is conducted with righteousness and justice. What does it mean to show? To show to us, that it appears to us the different attributes, the way Hashem conducts this world. Tzedek iyudin, mishpat iyurachme, chulu. Righteousness is law, the attributes of Gevurah. Justice is mercy. All the revelation of the attributes is to show how the world is conducted. But it is not that you have knowable righteousness, which is law. It's not that Hashem has it. Hashem is not defined by it. From Hashem perspective, it's all one. It's all included within Him. It's not the definitions of those attributes are only from our perspective. Nor a knowable justice, which is mercy. Nor of any of these other attributes at all. Hashem is not defined by them. This means to say that the righteousness and justice exist as separately identifiable attributes only relative to worlds and created beings. As regard to God Himself, it is not that you have these attributes. In relation to Him, they do not exist independently at all, being completely unified with Him, just as the sunlight enjoys no independence in identity when within the sun. So this is the end of chapter 10. And again, the takeaway from this, we have talking about the creation, the 6 days of creation, that those represent the attributes. And it's an interesting point that we mentioned. And the second day, God did not say that it was good. What happened on the third day? On Tuesday? On Tuesday, Hashem said twice it was good. Because on Tuesday, it was when the land was revealed. The purpose of the creation was revealed. The purpose of the creation that the separation that happened on the third and the second day was not a real separation. That was not the ultimate goal. Separation had a purpose, and the purpose was revealed on the third day. That's why the Torah was given in the third millennium. The Torah that came about to combine and the spiritual and the physical reality. So was the second day good? It was good. Everything Hashem does is good, but it didn't say it was good. Just like we live in Galus, we live in time of exile, and we feel separated in a way. And we know, yes, that ultimately it is for the purpose of reuniting and revealing the goodness, revealing God within every creature. But as long as we don't see that union, we cannot call it good. That separation cannot be called good. However, we live already now in the 6th millennium, in the millennium that is ultimately connecting. That's Yesod, the connection. And Hashem gives us, as the Rebbe said, that our generation, we live in the 6th millennium, but we are in the 7th generation. The 7th generation that brings about the ultimate revelation of godliness into this world. And how? Well, when we see everything, what happens, every event that takes place, we bring out the goodness, we find the good, we find the connection, the godly connection to it. And we're revealing the light within ourselves. This will bring the ultimate revelation that Mashiach will bring to the entire world, which will bring peace, which will bring security and tranquility. And it'll be Umallah Ha'aretz Day as Hashem, the whole world will be filled with the knowledge of Hashem. Thank you for joining. We shall continue tomorrow, B'ezrat Hashem.